Hi guys, welcome back to Garage Football. The news today, Sadio Mane is joined Bayern Munich for £35 million, a transfer that's been on the cards for some time, but it's gone through today. So I've been joined by an esteemed number of Liverpool fans, got their own YouTube channels, their links are in the description below. So we'll talk about the imminent news that of Mane's transfer to Bayern Munich, a look back on his very successful Liverpool career, and where does Mane rank amongst the pantheon of Liverpool legends, which have been many over the years. So if you're new around here, please subscribe to Garage Football and let us know your thoughts on Sadio Mane's Liverpool career and the transfer, etc. in the live chat. It'd be great to read those. So with no further ado, they're all patiently waiting in the green room, so let's add them all in. So we've got Jack McIndoe, Jack McIndoe TV. Thanks for joining, mate.
Pleasure, mate. Thank you very much.
We've got Steve from Statman Stubbs. Thanks, mate.
Thanks for having me, mate.
And we've got Luke from the 1892 Reds podcast. Thanks, mate. And finally, we've got Douglas from the Dugout Football channel. So thanks everyone. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate your time for joining us. So let's just get straight into it. So obviously, as I said, it was news that been coming for certainly the last few days, and even beforehand, when Sadio Mane said he was going to announce his future after the Champions League final, and the champion beforehand, even for the past 12 months, it's probably been on the cards. But anyway, let's get your immediate reaction. Jack, do you want to go first, mate?
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
I stunned into silence. All right, in that case, Steve, do you want to go first?
Yeah. I think I echo Jack's comments just before his internet went off there. But no, I mean, I think he's done it the right way, to be honest. If you look at the difference between him and Salah, I think he's obviously said that he wanted, first and foremost, when the club offered him a new deal, he said, no, I want to go. His family's in Germany. So obviously that's one of the main reasons. I don't think it's money related. I think also he'll not play as many games as obviously he does in England as well. But I really do wish him all the best. I think he's been a fantastic servant for Liverpool Football Club. I've got no qualms about him leaving to go to Bayern Munich, and yeah, just wish him all the best. I think he's been fantastic for Liverpool. We are going to miss him, but this is evolution, isn't it? Things move on, times change, and we'll just have to move on for it. We're going to be stronger. I think we've got some good acquisitions already in the club. So although I do wish him all the best, I think it's probably about now is the time to move on for Sadio, and I do wish him all the best. I can't say any more than that. I do literally wish him all the best.
Yeah, fair play, mate. Jack, your connection's back now, mate. So we'll come back to you. What's your initial thoughts?
I don't know how much he's got, so apologies, boys. I'll have to do it quick. my hamster's in the background. I'm running quick enough. Yeah, I was made. Well, he was my favourite Liverpool player, especially in the Jurgen Klopp era. The one thing I loved about Sadio was, as we were speaking to you before we come on, mate, was his never say die attitudes. He was always one for a big occasion. Even when we did get beat by Real Madrid in our first European Cup final against Real a couple of years back anyway, Sadio did score. He seemed to be the only person that was trying on that pitch at that night. And yes, obviously you can talk about his form last season, but a lot of players within that squad last year were really disappointing, and it wasn't just Sadio. But for me, he goes with all my best wishes, mate. I never grew up in an era of John Barnes, but I grew up in stories, and obviously that generation speaking about John down that left wing and how good he was. But he is my John Barnes in my era. 27 years on this planet, really. He's been absolutely phenomenal, and he's really set the precedent, really, of what it is to mean to play for Liverpool, and he's elevated Liverpool's game to where it is now.
You're muted, Bill.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Sorry. Yeah, Luke, obviously it's been a transfer that's been probably on the cards for quite a bit of time, but even so, what's your thoughts initially on Sadio leaving?
I mean, I'm gutted. Of course I am. I mean, obviously a lot of Liverpool fans will be, that we obviously look at, the way Mane obviously is in front of goal, he was lethal, obviously his team play, with his assists as well. But one thing that I will definitely miss about Sadio Mane at Liverpool is, as I said, like that sort of work ethic that he gives around the team, not just his goals, not just his contributions as well, but down that left-hand side, he created so much of a good partnership with Andy Robertson as well. That's going to be a massive loss for Liverpool going forward. Of course, we've got confidence that Luis Diaz can obviously set the the ground running into pre-season, into the new season. That's the replacement, and hopefully he does well. But yeah, Sadio Mane was, for me, the real start of Jurgen Klopp's sort of revolution at the club. He was the one who really sort of set the ground running. The goal against Arsenal always goes to mind. How he's cutting them from the right-hand side, obviously cutting to his left foot and smashed it past Petr Cech. I mean, that was just a statement to turn around and say, that he's here and he's going to, do everything possible to become a great Liverpool player. And over the years, and, in 6 years at the club, he's won everything. He's also added the trophy to the Champions Wall as well. I mean, he goes down as a Liverpool legend, and he is definitely going to be missed at Liverpool. Would I have kept him for another year or two? If Liverpool would have offered him a contract that he'd have wanted, then yes. But of course, the wage structure at Liverpool is always difficult to, break down with certain players. We're having that discussion with Salah at the moment. But yeah, I mean, Sadio Mane is going to be a massive miss to Liverpool, but we wish him all the best. And as Jurgen Klopp's comments earlier saying that it's not, we always will support Sadio Mane wherever he goes, as long as he's not playing against us. We can definitely see Bayern Munich and Liverpool in the Champions League in the next year or two. It's definitely going to happen. But yeah, good luck to him, and thank you very much for all the great memories that you've given to us as Liverpool fans.
Yeah, no, well said. And Doug, finally with you, I mean, obviously, it's sort of confirmed now the breakup of Liverpool's famous front three. I mean, it was sort of happened last season with Firmino, wasn't necessarily a regular, but now obviously with Mane leaving, that sort of that famous front three is obviously no longer there at Liverpool. But I mean, even so, I mean, it's a times are changing at Liverpool, and so obviously does that make it easier to deal with that Mane's leaving, or is it still be a big hole in Liverpool's squad?
I think Mane is a big miss for us. I think I don't begrudge him of a move, because I think he's done everything that he possibly could have won at Liverpool. He's won the Premier League, Champions League. You can name it, FA Cup, League Cup. Like he's won everything that he could have. He's won at Liverpool. But no, I think there was a sort of a sense of somebody in the front three was going to leave this summer. I didn't think it would be Mane. It would be Mane, but no, I think we've still got obviously Diaz, Firmino, Salah, obviously Jota to come into the mix there as well, and obviously the new boy Darwin Núñez as well. I think we'll be fine. But the one thing that I really liked about Mane, and I've got him on the back of this talk, because 2021 wasn't a very, very good season for us, but his off the ball movement was what I liked about him at Liverpool. Off the ball movement, I think it's one of the best off the ball movement I've seen from a Liverpool player. And yeah, like that first goal at Arsenal. Funnily enough, I don't know if you've actually seen the exit interview that he posted on the Liverpool website, but one of the things he said was his favourite goal was the Arsenal goal, and the second favourite was, he went to say, well, I have to say this, Bayern, I'm still coming for you, Bayern, because that goal was fantastic in the Allianz Arena. So we will miss him. We will miss him, but he's given us 6 years of fantastic memories, and obviously, as I said, that first goal at Arsenal to 119 more later, he goes down as a Liverpool legend for me.
No, fair play. No, I won't disagree with any of that. So before we go into the next sort of question, let's go to the chat quickly. So thanks everyone for your comments. Thanks, John. Big up, guys. Hope you're all well. Yeah, thanks, mate. It hit Russ is an Arsenal fan, so I'm glad you guys said about the Arsenal goals. I was going to mention it. So.
Good mate, Russ.
Jack's crying.
One of many against Arsenal.
I think Russ was crying with Mane.
Crying with joy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cheers, mate. Evening. Thanks, Daz. Evening. Yeah, Jamie was due to come on, but unfortunately he's not able to. But he'll definitely be on another time. Cheers, Daz. So right, let's move on to we've touched on it already, but Mane's Liverpool career. Before we touch about his career in general, I mean, obviously he did pretty well at Southampton. I think he scored one of the quickest hat-tricks, or the quickest hat-trick, I think, or something in Premier League history. I mean...
2.56 minutes.
God, is that it? Fucking hell, that's unreal. So just over his, obviously his career's achieved a lot, Sadio Mane, but before he even sort of joined Liverpool, I mean, obviously you can't predict the career he had. I mean, that's just ridiculous. But like, in terms of, did you think he'd be a good fit for Jurgen Klopp? I mean, Luke, do you want to go first on that one?
Yeah, I was actually quite optimistic when we signed him, to be fair. As you said, the Southampton career he had was very good. He was obviously playing with some players there that are no longer at Southampton and they're at bigger clubs. Of course, the likes of Van Dijk, and obviously there's a couple of other players that we could name as well.
Tadic as well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Dusan Tadic, another one as well. I mean,
There's your love run. Don't forget him.
The Liverpool team, wasn't it?
Pliny as well.
But no, when we signed him, I was quite optimistic. Obviously, the Arsenal goal was, as we mentioned before, that was sort of the stepping sort of mark that he's able to play at that level. Because let's not be mistaken, Arsenal were a decent side, sort of top 4 level at the time. They were always sort of maintaining that level as well. There was never really sort of any, I would say, transition, I would say, at Arsenal at the time. So Arsenal was always touted as sort of one of the top teams at the time. But even after that, I mean, there was obviously going to be a slower period where like it will take him a bit of time to adjust to the way Klopp wants to play and the position he wants to play, because he went from that right wing. He's now obviously moved into that left-hand side when we brought in Mo Salah and Bobby Firmino as well. But I mean, the real moment that stood for me, that really made me feel that Mane was going to be world class, was that goal against Manchester City on his left foot. In Manchester City's defeat, the 4-3 for Liverpool. That moment for me particularly thought, right, we've got some real player on our hands in this squad. And I think that was always, that game, was the sort of change of like the front three becoming like the front three. Like obviously we always had the front three, but everyone's associated, the front three with Bobby, Mane and Salah. Yeah. But no, I mean, to answer your question, mate, I think, as I said before, I was optimistic when Mane come in, but 35 million well spent. I mean, just an absolute bargain. I mean, to get that money back, to get the 6 years of service that he's given us, as Doug said, the 120 goals that he scored for us, the assists. I mean, just incredible. And yeah, I mean, I think there's only a handful, maybe a select few players that Jurgen Klopp has signed that have not sort of become great players, but Mane, in my opinion, has just taken from the Southampton days and he's become one of the best players in world football. It's just, there's no question about it. So yeah, obviously I'm not saying it because obviously he's had 6 years at the club and we've all enjoyed having him there. I generally was happy when he signed. It's going to sound a bit bizarre just before I sort of move on. I was actually a bit more happier when we signed Mane compared to Salah. I don't know why. I think Salah was the year after, but I always felt with Mane he was the better signing compared to the two of them. I mean, Salah's obviously
Mane had more Premier League experience in terms of more games, eh?
Maybe, yeah. But I mean, that could lead to it as well. I mean, I read a report as well that there was around sort of 25 to 30 scouts that were telling Jurgen Klopp, you need to sign Mo Salah. So it clearly shows that Jurgen Klopp didn't really sort of want Mo Salah at the time. And he wanted Sadio Mane more than Salah. Obviously, I know it was a year apart, but I always felt that Mane was more important out of the two signings. But what else can you say? Sadio Mane, thank you very much. And yeah, I was always happy when we signed him.
Yeah, fair enough. And Doug, same to you. Obviously, what were your thoughts when he first joined, but also at the end of his first season? I've just been having a look. He scored, he got that great start against Arsenal. I think was it the first game of the season into the top corner, and 13 goals, 27 appearances. That's a good start. Did you feel? How did you feel when obviously he signed, but also after that first season, did you think there was going to be a flash in the pan? Did you think he could elevate his game, which ultimately he did?
I was excited, mate. I was absolutely excited when we got him. And to be honest with you, I think people forget that it's been highly documented that Jurgen Klopp actually wanted Sadio Mane since the Dortmund days. But since I think he went to obviously Red Bull Salzburg, and then obviously went to Southampton from Salzburg. was highly documented that Jurgen Klopp wanted Mane. So, third time lucky, got him at Liverpool. And I think the money we spent for him, and I know people criticised it at the time, but 35 million or 36 million, whatever you want to put it, is it's been money well spent. Well, obviously it has been now, but I think the transition from the right hand side of the attack to the left side of attack, he's made the left side of his own, and then obviously earlier this season he's kind of made a transition into being that vocal point up front, and I think he's done very, very well. And I think also the thing is as well, Mane has probably had a better season than Mo Salah. Mane's won the AFCON. He sent Senegal to the World Cup as well. So in that aspect, I think Salah's probably had the better of the individual awards, if you like to say it anyway. But no, when Mane signed, I was very, very excited, and I thought that he could, kick on and be a very, very good signing. And crikey, what a signing he's turned out to be. And obviously, I agree with what Luke said in that that Man City game, the 4-3, when Mane scored that left-footed. I think people then realised that this is the front three to stay. So yeah, I always had high hopes for Sadio Mane, and what signing he's obviously proved out to be.
Yeah, no, 100%. So Steve, same to you, mate. I mean, obviously, what were your thoughts on when Mane signed and and in the first season, and how he settled in? Seemed to from what I remember, and obviously looking at his stats, seemed to have settled in really quickly.
Yeah, it's like the lads have already said. It's I was pleased when he first signed. I think, like the lads have already said as well, the Premier League experience that sort of helped him settle in with Southampton as well. So yeah, definitely, I was really impressed from the first season. I mean, like you said, 27 appearances, 13 goals, not a bad return, and what a great game to start off the 4-3 game against Arsenal as well, like the lads have already said as well. So yeah, I was really pleased. I know a lot of fans were taking the mick, the same with Salah when he signed, saying they were both flops, but they've well and truly put a pie in both the faces there. Really, when it comes to them signings. But no, I mean, like all the lads have said it. Wish him all the best. I think the way he's done it. He's done it with gratitude as well. He still loves the club, and he just wants to go into pastures new, and you can't blame him. So wish him all the best. And I was just definitely, when he first signed, I was looking forward to see what he could do in a Liverpool shirt. His work rate alone is second to none. Klopp only gets players who want to work for the team and want to work hard and want to put the graft in. And Sadio Mane has got all them attributes. So yeah, I was really chuffed when he first signed, and he's more than in them 6 years that he's been at Liverpool. He's been a quality player. He didn't come in world class, but he's certainly living Liverpool as a world class player, in my opinion. And yeah, like I say, I wish him all the best.
Yeah, no doubts about that, mate. And same to you, Jack. Your initial thoughts on when Mane signed?
Yeah, I think, as the lads already alluded to, I think Salah was meant to be a backup to Mane on that right wing, as Luke and Doug were saying before. But yeah, it's funny how football sometimes works, doesn't it? I think Jurgen Klopp ideally, because we were so heavily reliant on Mane that first season, it's quite scary. I think he did get injured that season. I think it was the back end, or was the season after, and then our form just flew off a bloody cliff. In reality, as it would be, because he was such a good player from the outset. And obviously the Solskjaer days, I think his first season for Southampton in the league, he got 10 goals, 3 assists, and then went one better the season at Southampton, played 7 more games, but he got 11 goals, 7 assists, and as Lab just said, in his first season for Liverpool in the Premier League, that was his 13 goals, 5 assists, but his best goal scoring one, his golden boot, I think he was alongside Aubameyang and was it Salah back in the 18-19 season. He got 36 games played in the league, 22 goals, 1 assist anyway. Could have got a bit more if Salah was a bit generous with his assists. But yeah, as the lads have already echoed, 100% agree with every single one of them as always. Yeah, we're just so blessed, and I think a lot of people will mention the Allianz goal, But it was the Aston Villa game for me when we won the league, when we were away from home. I was listening to the radio with my dad. We went absolutely mental. I'm pretty sure all the Liverpool fans did. Like 2 goals in the space of like 5-6 minutes, something stupid. Him and Andy Robinson, Robbo back post, and then Sadio getting his goal as well. He took a boot to the face as well. He summed up Mane, not scared at all. Put his head on the end of it, where players probably would have scared away from it. And even the Derby goals, that Derby goal, the picture, it's very reminiscent of his Liverpool career. The flares were getting thrown onto the pitch. It was like that at Goodison Park in the 95th minute. It was beautiful stuff, mate. It was poetry. And nothing better. The Premier League will be missing one of its superstars. I think the Premier League, as an overall package, you don't want to see the best players leave, but we are losing one of, as the lads have said, one of the best players in world football.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't disagree with that, mate. I mean, in terms of Doug, we'll come to you first on this one. I mean, obviously we've talked. It's obviously you guys have said about your favourite sort of moments with Mane. We'll talk about that in a minute. But in terms of like what made Mane a success at Liverpool, because like for me it seems to be from the outside where like his determination. I think Liverpool fans appreciate that. Obviously his ability, his finishing got better every season from what I could see. And even when that sort of COVID season, a lot of pundits said he didn't have his best season, but even so he scored 11 Prem goals and 16 overall, which, if that's a bad season as well, I'd take that personally. So I mean, what do you think, Doug, and obviously the others as well? But Doug, what made Mane a sort of success at Liverpool in his 6 years?
I think the fact as well that he was never injured. Never injured was Sadio Mane. Like, he was very, very rarely injured. But what made him a success was, I think it was quite obvious to me early, like the goal scoring is off the ball play. It's like he was a first team starter in that team for me. And I think what made him a very, very successful player is that he kept working at it, because I think he had to bide his time to get into the Liverpool team, because obviously he was on the right hand side to go out to the left hand side as well. But I just think that he has had to adapt to being in a Liverpool style team. But I am very much looking forward to seeing what he can do at Bayern, because I think it's going to be interesting if Lewandowski stays, because I think on the left hand side he probably should. In my honest opinion, I think Sadio Mane works better down the forward line. I don't think he is a left-sided winger anymore. I think he's a very good focal point up front. So I think the adapting to the Liverpool style of play, and what made him successful is that he went on to win so many things with us.
Yeah, no, exactly. And Luke, to you, in terms of same as I said to Doug, what made Mane a success, and also what games and goals stood out? I mean, obviously there's been a few mentioned already. What sort of goals or key moments stood out in Mane's Liverpool career?
I mean, as Doug said, for me, his goal scoring record, and obviously his work rate. But for me, there's a couple of areas where I think Mane stood out with Liverpool. Was Doug mentioned earlier about his off the work ball, not off the work sort of hard work that he brought to the team, and it goes down as well to the management setup. Obviously, Jurgen Klopp was the main reason why Sadio Mane's been able to develop into a world-class player, and it's always something that I always look back on over the last 6-7 years at Liverpool. No disrespect to some of the other managers that we've had, but if some of these other managers, like say Brendan Rodgers, would have had a Sadio Mane type player, he would never become the player he is now. And you have to give a lot of credit to the manager, and he's done that with mainly all of our other great players that we've got in our team right now, and what we've had also in the past. So for for me, I think Sadio Mane's belief in the manager and the coaching staff, they have to get a lot of credit. Also, for me, what he said in his interview today, or come out today, his love for Liverpool, and Jack lives in Liverpool, and I think I've learned going to Liverpool, even though I've been a Liverpool fan all my life, but I don't live in Liverpool. But from what I understand, when you go to Liverpool, that it's a religion up there. Like it's literally everything about the city is the football club. It's Liverpool. It's everything that you have to believe in the team. You have to believe in the fans everywhere around the world. And Sadio Mane, for me, he definitely learnt that over the last sort of 6 years at the club. When he first stepped in, he realised what this club is all about. And, the love for the fans, the love for the team, the love for the city, everything about Liverpool. And that has to go down as one of the reasons why he's become such a great asset. And, one of the greatest players that we've had in Premier League history, and if not in our history as itself. But goals that stand out for me, obviously, I mentioned the Man City goal. Obviously, the Arsenal goal has been mentioned. Obviously, the back heel against Watford was unbelievable. That has to always get a mention. There's so many. Bayern Munich, obviously, that when he turned Neuer, to do that in their own backyard, the confidence to do that, and then the finish was just exceptional. I'm just trying to think if there's sort of any other goals that really come to mind that... Honestly, I
too many to think of.
There's too many to think of, literally. I'll come back to me. I'm going to try and pick out one that I can think of right now. But as I said before, Mane's the manager obviously has to take credit, but also at the same time, his hard work, commitment, and knowing the city of Liverpool, what it means to everyone around there and the football club. It's brilliant. So again, thank you, Sadio, for everything you've done.
No, fair play. Jack, what goals and moments stood out for you in Mane's career, and also what made him be the success that he ultimately became?
Yeah, as Luke said, I think we're seeing with modern day transfers, aren't we, now that the modern day player, apart from the elite level top players, that they're coming into clubs and that's it. Like with the careers, as Luke and Doug and Steve and a lot of people in the comments already, Mane come with the attitude. He's worked himself up. He's come from, obviously he plays in the early years, and was it Metz or something in France, and then went to Salzburg and Southampton. So he's worked his bloody backside off, and he deserves every single bloody accolade, really. And trying to think that, what goal was it, lads, where it was that shot from outside the box with his left foot, but he fell, and he just absolutely nailed it top left bin. And it was like, how's he done that? I can't.
I was just thinking, the one I was just thinking of, I know it wasn't the best goal in the world, but the goal against Everton in the 95th minute.
Oh, yeah, said that.
Sturridge hit the post and then Mane tapped in. It was like, that was one of the moments I was thinking of as well. Just, and sort of, maybe as Jack was going to say as well, it's like, he sort of showed there how much it meant to Liverpool. Obviously, a late winner's obviously everything, but just everything around what that means to the city and the club and everything. That goal against Everton was massive. And yeah, Jack, carry on, mate. Obviously, I was thinking of result.
Yeah, no, I'd say, Bill, isn't it? It's Mane, his attitude. He could have come to Liverpool and not really put in the attitude, the work that was needed. And I think, as the lads have said already, I'm pretty sure Jay echoed as well. Jurgen Klopp makes these players, but it's the attitude in these players that want to aspire to be the best. It's all right, Jurgen tell them they had tactics, but it's very reminiscent of the modern day player in which Jurgen Klopp is bringing in. He brings in a certain type of player. He wouldn't bring in a Paul Pogba because it wouldn't work. Pogba, you see him, he can't be asked. He's more bothered about doing TikTok videos or getting his hair cut.
Yeah.
But Sadio Mane, from day one, from every single second he's been at Liverpool, he's been in the gym every single day. Him and Salah. But yeah, I love him, mate. But we've got our little Colombian maestro. And I tell you what, even if he's half as good as Mane, we've got some bloody player on our hands.
No, definitely. So before Steve, come to you, mate. Jamie, thanks for joining, mate. Nice to see your Wi-Fi's back up and running, which is great. in terms of what your thoughts on obviously Mane's career, what stood out for you in his 6 years, and what made him sort of have the career, like in terms of his attributes. We talked about his work rate, etc. What made him the player and Liverpool sort of legend that he became, really?
I don't know. Yeah, Mane. I think it's because Sadio Mane is extremely humble. So because he's extremely humble, I think his roots, where he grew up and how he grew up and everything like that. It's that's what makes him the human being he is. Firstly, as a player, he's probably Liverpool's best left-sided forward since John Barnes, I would say. And I don't think he's as good as John Barnes because that takes some doing. Barnes was, he was ridiculous. And 88 Barnes was probably the best player in the world at the time. But Mane's legacy will always be massive at Liverpool and always should be as well, and be hard to match. I could see people going next season if Luis Diaz has a down period for a month or saying everyone, "Oh, I wish Mane was still here because Mane wouldn't have done that." Things like that. So that's going to be around the club for a long time. But his humbleness, it's his humbleness. You compare him to Neymar. Comparing to Neymar, I played similar positions. I don't think there's a lot between the players, personally. But he's just more of a humble guy, Mane, and that's what endears him to all the Liverpool fans, I think. You never once heard him moan about anything the 6 years he was at the club. I think he's dealt with this transfer to Bayern Munich the most professional way you can. I look what's happening with Mo at the moment. We don't know where we stand with Mo. I have absolutely no idea what's going on. With Sadio, he made it quite clear his intentions. He wanted to leave the club. It didn't matter what the club did in terms of giving him a new contract and stuff like that. Obviously, his contract, people talk about how much he was earning at Liverpool. It's more than people actually think. Sadio Mane was on between 160 and 100 grand a week, 180 grand a week at Liverpool. This 100 grand a week nonsense needs to stop because that's not what he was on. He's on a lot of money and he never moaned about the money. And he hasn't gone to Bayern Munich for the money either because the rumour is he's on 220 a week at Bayern Munich over 3 years. So he's not actually gone to Bayern Munich for the money. He's actually gone to Bayern Munich because he feels at 30 years of age now, he's won everything there is to do at Liverpool Football Club. And he knows he's probably got 3 or so years left at the top level he can be at this moment in time. I do think he dipped a little bit as a Liverpool player. I do think he has dipped a little bit. There is a little bit of digression there. But I can understand why he's gone to Germany because it makes a lot of sense for him on his body, physically, mentally. And he probably wants a new challenge. And I'm a bit in the air about the transfer to Bayern Munich. I think it's a weird one. Don't make sense to me. But good luck to Sadio. It'll always be a Liverpool. Legend's hard to throw about. I was going to say a legend. I don't know if he's quite a legend, but because legends are legends.
That's our next question. We'll come on to that.
Legend. We throw around legend like world class, don't we? Always world class. He's world class. He's legendary. He's legendary. So I always a bit dubious about calling somebody a legend. There's only 2 legends for me in Liverpool Football Club history, and it's Kenny Dalglish. Well, 3. Bill Shankly, Kenny Dalglish, Stevie G. And they're the 3.
Ian Rush?
Ian Rush, he went.
St. John, Big Ronnie Yates. Yeah. It's the lad stuff. It's the lad stuff that just felt the later foundation.
They're the 3 serious legends, I would actually say. But I love Mane and I mean, after this video, I did it on my channel earlier. I'm never talking about Sadio Mane again. So after unless we're shooting Doug's later. But apart from now, this is the last time we're going to talk about Sadio Mane because he's not a Liverpool player no more. But I wish him all the luck because at the end of the day, apart from football, he's an absolutely diamond human being. And at the end, that's all that matters.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, mate. I recommend anyone to read I think it was Oliver Kay who went to visit his family in Africa on the Athletic website. I really highly recommend people to read that if they haven't already. Steve, finally, you've been waiting patiently. What moments stood out for you in Mane's Liverpool career, and what made him the successful player and transfer that he became?
Yeah, it's always difficult going last, and especially when the lads have basically said most of the things that I would probably say anyway. To be honest, I mean, you just have to look at the goals, some important goals, which we've already alluded to as well. The Real Madrid game, obviously the first one anyway, back in 2018, got the equalising goal, although obviously didn't come to anything in the end. He scored some real important goals, and I think if you look back at the start of this season, he probably wasn't the best player that Liverpool had, but he certainly ended the season as Liverpool's most influential player, goal scoring wise anyway. He kept Liverpool in some games where Salah, unfortunately, in all fairness, Salah was absolutely knackered playing so many games, club and country. But I just think it's, like the lads have said, his work rate. Jurgen generally signs players who are going to put in a shift for the club. He doesn't sign these players who are just going to sit around and just think, oh, well, I've lost the ball, I'm not going to work back. His work rate. Sometimes you see him in the right back position. You see him in the left back position. He's up and down the pitch. He just on and off the pitch. Even if you look at the stuff that he's done in and around Liverpool, he's gone to obviously mosques and stuff like that. He's I think it was Luke that said he's embraced the culture first and foremost. And he leaves the club. He's done it the right way, like Jamie said as well. I think he said his intention straight away, first and foremost, that he wants to leave. He's won everything other than the Europa League. He's won everything that he can at Liverpool. So yeah, I wish him all the best. But I think when he signed, I think it was more to do with his work rate than anything else. He's all round selfishness as well. I know maybe towards the end of his Liverpool career, maybe there was that competition with him and Salah, etc. We've seen it week in, week out when there was various different chances to play the opposing player in, but obviously didn't do it. Wanted to try and get a shot off instead. But mainly selfishness, his work rate, and his all round smile. He just seemed happy to just be out on the pitch first and foremost and playing for and putting that shirt on for Liverpool, and he does leave. He wasn't a world class player when he left. When he started, but he's certainly leaving as a world class player. And like all the lads have said, I'm starting to see him go. I really am. I would have loved him to stay, but like I say, clubs evolve. Obviously, I think it's going to be the same with Mo. I think Mo is going to be the next one to go if he doesn't sign a new contract in the summer. I think he's the next one to go. But it's just the way it is, isn't it? It's just evolution, like I've said earlier on. You have to just abide and obviously go with the flow and go with the. Obviously, people can't play until the 40s unless you're a goalkeeper nowadays, anyway. But no, I wish him all the best, and I generally am gutted, but yeah, obviously at least he's not gone to another Premier League team, and he's going to Germany where he's going to win things there as well. So all the best to him, really.
Yeah, at least he ain't gone to Everton either. So let's go to the chat before we go on to the final topic of tonight. So George, thanks, mate. Mine has gone far too cheap for me. If Mane is worth that, then Neymar's worth £2.50.
How much is Lukaku, George? 8 million loan.
Chelsea are still paying him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Ross Barkley, absolute baller. Hit the sarcasm in there. Thanks, Ravi. Mane is a great attitude and appetite, and when he plays, yeah, pretty much agree what you boys have said. So let's go on to the big question: where does Mane rank among Liverpool legends? Now, this is a big topic in terms of Liverpool's overall history. That's probably more of a difficult debate. But in terms of Premier League legends, I'm sure he'd be right up there. I mean, Jamie, do you want to kick off on this one?
Oh Jesus, I was just saying.
No pressure, mate.
Premier League wise, for Liverpool, I mean, let's be fair. In the Premier League era, Liverpool, you know, we've had a few, but there ain't a lot. It's definitely up there. So you got your Stevie's up there, Premier League wise for us. Suarez probably in the short time he was here, but what he did was just ridiculous. I mean, as a person, he's a complete prick. But as a footballer, you don't get much better, do you? Let's face it. Oh, Jesus, and Virgil. There ain't many. So, yeah, he's definitely a Liverpool legend in the eyes of Premier League era. But with all the legendary players that Liverpool have had, if we had to make a greatest ever Liverpool 11 tomorrow, Sadio Mane don't get in it. But that don't mean he was. That don't mean he weren't tremendous and world class for us at the same time. It's just the amount of players that have played in our illustrious history at this football club. We're just lucky we've had so much talent play for this club. So that's why I say about the legend status. Like, he's a legendary Premier League figure, but if I was doing a greatest ever Liverpool 11 tomorrow, I don't think Sadio Mane would be in it. But my God, what a football player! And he's a Premier League. I think he'll be one of the Premier League legends. I mean, he did well. Everyone forgets his time at Southampton. It was short and maybe not memorable, but what he did there was incredible as well. So, yeah, legendary that way. But, yeah, we just got to be careful when we throw around the legendary words, personally. That's my opinion in a way, but he's a world-class talent.
That's fair enough. Jack, do you concur with that?
Premier League era legends, as Jay said. John Barnes. Listen to my dad when I was a kid. We've all watched documentaries, especially my age, 27. Obviously, Barnes, was he in the early years of the Premier League? The very early years?
Yeah, Fat Barnes was around in 90.
Yeah. Big John. Right, yeah. Big John, but as I said, mate, especially my age, 27.
All right, Jack. All right.
Yeah, my age.
Mate, I'm getting old.
Sorry, but my age, I haven't seen a better left winger.
Yeah,
obviously Barnes was on another level considering the amount of titles, but I think if Mane was walking away with 4 or 5 Premier League titles and City winning weren't a thing, then we could be talking about one of, if not one of the Premier League greatest ever players to ever grace a football pitch. If he did walk away with 5 or 6 trophy Premier Leagues, that he says. And another parallel university walks away with 3 European Cups as well. So, but fact of life, that is football. We move. But for me, mate, yeah, he's a Liverpool legend in Premier League era. I concur with what Jay said. A 1 to 11 of Liverpool greats. He's still, he wouldn't get in my one because I put Barnsley ahead of him. Depends on what formation we're playing. But for this current crop of players and the modern day Liverpool in the Premier League, 100%. I'm hoping Diaz is a bit better. He's got some going. I'm hoping he's got some way to go, Diaz, to really emulate. But funny things have happened. We've been here, haven't we, boys? Our players have left, but football clubs still continue to turn. The wheel still continues, and wouldn't surprise me if Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp and Edwards have done an absolute master stroke and Diaz is better than Mane. Time will tell, but yeah, he's a legend for me in the modern day Premier League era, mate.
Yeah, fair play, mate. And Steve, do you agree with that?
It depends what you sort of really class as legend, because if you're going off trophies won, obviously the time he's been there, he's won everything other than the Europa League, which we were only in the Europa League in the first season that Klopp was Liverpool manager. So if you're going on base trophies won, I agree with obviously Jack and Jamie when Premier League era, definitely he would probably be up there as a legend. But I think when Mane first arrived, he definitely had potential. I wouldn't say he was average or anything like that because he definitely had potential. But I think it's just the man management of Jurgen Klopp has turned him into the player that he is now. He leaves Liverpool, certain, I would say, world class. I agree with Jamie when we use legend too often and when it's not necessary, to be honest. But if you base it on trophies won, you can argue that he has been a legend. But for me, I think the right category, if we were going to do categories, would be world class. I think he's been nothing but great for Liverpool, and he leaves obviously on great terms as well. Not many players leave clubs on good terms, and he certainly left on good terms. But for me, I echo obviously Jack and Jamie's comments. If you were to do an all-round great Liverpool 11, although Mane is world class, I still don't think, because we've been spoiled for choice with players that we've had up and down the years as well. I don't think he gets into it, but that doesn't mean that he's not a bad player. Of course, he's not. He is a world class player for me. I wouldn't say he was a legend. I would say he's world class for me.
Yeah, and that's not me like downplaying. I don't think any of us are, but like we're just so blessed. We're not like Man City where we can name a 1 to 11. Or the modern day era. What even is a legend for City? Well, they're still playing.
2008.
Yeah, 2008. Good old slaphead Stephen Ireland there. Go ahead, Richard Dunn and all that. So it's amazing what Earl can do, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
We've got a couple of absolute belters of questions which we'll come to in the live chat. We'll come to those in a minute. But Doug, I mean, same as the other boys. Do you agree with what they've said about Mane's sort of status as a Liverpool player?
Probably one of the top 5 Jurgen Klopp signings. I would say Premier League legend, and I kind of echo everybody else. I don't think he gets into like a best Liverpool 11 because John Barnes was something else. As well. But Sadio Mane has been a fantastic Liverpool signing. Probably the first one you could probably say was the start of obviously Jurgen Klopp sort of building his team up ever so slightly. So yeah, for me, Premier League legend. But for me, he still leaves a Liverpool legend in my eyes anyway.
No, good stuff. And the final with you, Luke?
I think he's a Liverpool legend. I don't get me wrong. I understand everyone's opinions about it, but I just feel that I don't feel that you have to be at the club for a certain amount of time to become a legend. I mean, if we're calling Luis Suarez a legend, that was only at the club for about 3 years, that didn't win the Premier League, he didn't win the Champions League, he didn't really win anything at Liverpool, but we call him a Liverpool legend. I personally would call Sadio Mane a legend at Liverpool because we spoke earlier about the likes of John Barnes. We've never had a player other than John Barnes that has taken that position to his own. And Mane did that for 6 years. That position was his. I mean, for me, I agree. We do use that legend status a lot, and it shouldn't be used a lot. I mean, people was calling Wijnaldum a legend last season. I mean,
don't get me started on.
I mean, that's just. I mean, it's just an example.
That was Ricky, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's just an example. Obviously, like, we're using them sort of legend terms a lot. I mean, the Divock Origi side of it, it's more cult hero. I mean, compared to a legend. But no, for me, with Sadio Mane, I mean, it's not just of what he's done on the pitch. It's, as we spoke, off the pitch, what he's done. Like everything he's done for this football club to progress further. There was last season against Crystal Palace, what he done for that supporter. Like, taking time out to actually speak to supporters and say, right, what do you want me to do to celebrate? And obviously he did the celebration where he's pointing up to the sky, like for the young man who obviously wanted him to celebrate like that. And Mane did that. He obviously listened to the fans and was just an absolute legend for it. Some of them sort of terms go for granted. And I just feel that for what he's done in the 6 years at Liverpool, as Stephen said, he's won everything that's available at Liverpool. He's added to the Champions World Trophy with the Club World Cup. There are obviously certain areas, where you could call someone a legend or not. I do agree with what Jamie and Jack said. I wouldn't put him in an all-time 11, but he's very close to being in that sort of 11.
Definitely,
yeah. I think so. I mean, impact sub would be amazing, wouldn't it, Sadio Mane? But no, I know it's obviously not going to make everyone. They probably won't agree with it or not, but I think he's a Liverpool legend. I think if you go by the way we watch football and how we've watched football in our lifetime, we have to call him a legend at Liverpool. But it's one of those things. But yeah, I'm just disappointed he's leaving, obviously, and thank you very much for what he's done. I've said that 4 or 5 times. It's just so it's just disappointed to see him go. But no, I'm going to stick by it. I'm going to call him a Liverpool legend for everything he's done for the club on and off the pitch.
Fair enough. Right, I realise a couple of you guys got to go soon, so we'll wrap up as quick as we can. So we'll just go to the chat. A couple of great questions. So cheers, Russ. He said, you guys mentioned John Barnes earlier, but who's better than Mane in that position in an all-time Liverpool 11?
Stuart Downing.
That's a joke, by the way, everyone.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I know a lot of you at home watching right now. Get a joke and go over your head before you clip him.
John
Have you seen Yusuf's question there about Hazard or Mane? I can't even believe he's been serious.
No, to be fair to Hazard, when he was on form, he was arguably a better footballer than Sadio Mane. But Sadio Mane did it consistently.
For longevity.
I think the difference with those two is like Mane was definitely more of a goal threat compared to Hazard. Hazard's just Eden Hazard at Chelsea was like their version of Suarez. You didn't have to. They could be so bad for 89 minutes. You give Hazard the ball, he can do something about it. But obviously, in front of goal all day long, and have Sadio Mane all day long in front of goal.
It was just more toothless and stuff like that, wasn't
he? Yeah, he loves it. Loves a good Mackies as well. Hazard's Christ, he's 30 and he looks like me after lockdown.
Hazard probably more of an assister rather than Mane was more of a sort of striker, kind of forward, rather than Hazard seems to be more of an attacking midfielder, get assists, drop deep, go on that dribble he scored against Arsenal. We've heard of Coquelin and Koscielny, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that Hazard, I'm going to go on it now. I think Hazard's only had 3 good seasons in his whole career.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. He's massive, one of the most overrated players in the Premier League.
I think he's only had 3 good seasons, and that was even at Lille, Chelsea, Real Madrid, now he can't. If he can't get on a ride at Chesterton, can he? 'Cause his gut gets.
Come on, Jamie. We'll go Chesterton. We'll get on the rides and we'll tell him.
All right, good stuff, lads. Really appreciate your time. Is there anything else you want to touch on about Mane before we finish?
Did I say thank you very much?
I think you have. I bet lost count.
Yeah, as long as he knocks City out of the Champions League next year, that's
Liverpool getting Bayern Munich in their group, don't you?
Oh yeah,
100%. Yeah. Or the final, he scores the winning penalty.
Oh Jesus! I'll tell you what. I'll tell you who is happy. Mo Salah.
Oh yeah, and Pep Guardiola.
Mo Salah's now like, I'm the man now. I don't have to share it no more with Sadio. Yeah. I'm the king here, and he's the one who's going to be proper happy about this.
I agree with that.
Yeah, thank you, Bill, for having me on, mate.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, lads. So yeah, Jack, Steve, Luke, Doug, Jamie. That's all right. No worries. Thanks for coming on, lads, and thanks everyone for watching. Subscribe to Gash Football if you're new. Sub to the boys. Their links in the description below, and we'll see you soon. All the best. Take care.